Do you think playing classical music on guitar from traditional notation is difficult? Do you believe that tablature would be much easier to read? Well, actually, you have a point in that, because tablature gives you immediately the information you need to play on the guitar. But anyway, you can do that reading music as well. Here get the most basic content of music theory to play the first scale and to play nearly all the scales. Let's deal with the C major scale. Here she comes. Notation is pretty clean. The notes change lines from spaces one after another. It's just one step higher all the time. And we noticed the names are taken from the alphabet. A, B, C, D, E, F, G seems to be the right order for the names of the notes. 7 notes, 7 names. Fine. Now, music theory normally is taught with the help of the piano. So on the keyboard, A, B, C, D, E, F, G is very easy as well. Look at that. Just one note per key. Everything's very easy. And that's exactly the point where the disinformation for guitar players begins. Because both notation and piano keyboard suggest that there are 7 notes equidistant one from the other. And actually, that's not our truth on the fretboard. And there are not 7 notes, but there are 12. Only 7 of that 12 have a name, and there are 5 that don't have one. All those 12 notes are repeated in several octaves on the instruments. So we could put the 12 notes on a clock face, which is going round and round, getting higher. Here's what I did. You see the 7 named notes, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and the 5 no-name notes. Now, what we want to learn is the most basic scale in music, C major. So let's extract from the clock the notes that we need for C major. Have a look on this. Here you see the 7 notes we need for C major, all the named notes. What is very important to notice that there are 2 pairs of notes that actually are not divided by a no-name note. There are just one next to another, which is the pair of B, C and E, F. That's a thing that musical notation, as you remember the scale, doesn't show you, because all the notes seem to be equidistant. Actually, they are not. And that's of fundamental importance for all the scales, for all the character that scales and keys have, and how we play them on the guitar. Let's put the notes for C major in a line. And when from here we go to put that on a fretboard, on a tab, that what could come out. It's the C major scale played on the 2nd string, on the B string. When I now leave out the no-named note, I actually get a tablature with which I could play those notes. Note the 2 pairs of notes that are just in 2 adjacent frets. So you see the B string fits very well the C major scale. In music, that's how it compares. You don't see the half steps or the whole steps. They're not distinguished in music, as they are not distinguished on the keyboard if you play C major. We have to get that fingered right now. The guitar is made in a way that we can quite comfortably cover 4 frets with our 4 fingers. In first position, it's a bit more difficult because we have to stretch a bit the fingers. In higher position, it's actually easier. But the dimension of the fretboard invites us to use 1 finger per fret. Now let's see what happens with our C major scale if we do that. In this figure, you see the range of the hand in red. And if we now use the fingers that we need for the frets of C major, we see that in the lowest position, in the first position, you have to use 1 and 3. As we don't want to use stretches, we have to change position, go to 5th position, and our range let us use the fingers 1, 2 and 4. Fingers are finished, we have to change position, go up to the 10th position and play 1, 3, 4. At this point, you see that the fingering represents perfectly the structure of the scale. We have a whole step. The left fourth finger would allow us a half step, but we need a whole step, so we change to the 5th fret. The half step is 1, 2, the whole step is 2, 4. Again, the fingers are finished. We change position to 10th. Whole step, half step. And that's all the scale. Initially, you could play it anyway with just one finger to get the structure of the scale straight. Count the number of the grade of the scale. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4 is the half step. 5, 6, 7, 8 is another half step. What is nice, if you take it as a rhythm, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you remember the structure. If you now remember as well the note names, that would be perfect. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. The guitar is 6-stringed. This is due to the fact that we can play contemporaneously just one note per string. So if we want to play chords, we have to have more than one string. In scales anyway, having more than one, having 6 strings, helps us to play those scales in a different manner. If we play it on this only 2nd string, we have to change position, which in melody playing can be not too comfortable. So we try to find that scale changing strings. First step is, where do we have to play the C, if not on the 2nd string? I'd like to find that on the G string. And for that I can use again my tone clock. Look at this. Here you see the G string where my C should be on and the root C marked in red. So what I have to do is count clockwise like this. G string open, 1st fret, 2nd fret, 3rd fret, 4th fret, 5th fret, we reach our C. So on 3rd string, C is in the 5th fret. I write that in the tablature. And my 4-finger range gives me the 1st and 3rd finger for C and D. And this actually is the very same fingering that we had on the 2nd string. The following E, F and G are just the same position that we had playing on the 2nd string before. Now here again my fingers are finished and I have to change the string. Next string is the 1st one. My note is A, I have to find the A on the 1st string. Let's do that again with the clock. The E string, the 5th step clockwise, and in the 5th fret we reach the A. So the A is here. 1st finger, my finger range invites 1, 3, 4. And that's again the very same fingering that I had in 10th position. Here is in 5th position all my C major scale. Backwards. With the very same fingerings as before. For that scale, we found finger patterns. If we have only whole steps, our finger range permits 2 fingers actually to play without stretching. For the 3rd note, I would need stretching the fingers. For now, for have the scale easy, I let that out and play just 2 notes per string. The other 2 are 3 finger patterns for the half step. 1, 2, 4 and 1, 3, 4. This kind of pattern can be repeated easily. If I do it on C major in the lower octave, for example, I just have to change 1, 3 to 2, 4 and then have the same fingerings as I had before. 1, 2, 4, 1, 3, 4 and backwards. Now, what we are playing is a kind of tablature, and we just learn a fingering without knowing too much the notes. If you want to know the notes actually, what you have to do is learn the structure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8. And remember that in C major, those half steps are between E, F and B, C. E, F, B, C. If you now go and remember all the scales, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, you can learn the notes of the fretboard actually. And they are the same here, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. There can be obviously developed to 2 octave scales, 3 octave scales, to the Segovia scales. Watch the videos I already did on that. And you can actually find all your own scales. You could use that tool of the tone clock that I wrote. And yeah, if you are interested in that, just let me know. So we will work out together all the scales you need. If you like the video, give me a thumb up and subscribe to the channel. See you next time. Bye.